Thank you, John. Welcome, everyone. My name is Alma Galembat. A lot of you here know me already. I am the founder and executive director of Sunshine Projects, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization providing social, educational, and creative programming, as well as leadership development opportunities for young adults with intellectual differences in greater DC area. Sunshine Projects is committed to supporting and empowering our community through information, programming, friendship, and support, particularly during this difficult period under COVID-19. Several like-minded organizations that provide support and resources to the disability community have joined us tonight and are co-sponsoring this event. Welcome, Disability Rights Maryland. Up-County Community Resources. And the Down Syndrome Network of Montgomery County. Tonight's program allows members of the disability community to engage with elected officials about issues that are important to them. Later in the hour, Tracy Wright of Disability Rights Maryland will present on voters' rights and choices. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Tracy. And before I turn the program over to our two moderators, I would like to personally thank Congressman David Trone for participating in this unique event. David, I'm very honored to have you here with us today.
Oh, thank you, Elma.
And so, without further delay, let me turn the town hall over to our moderators, Ms. Carly Ruderman and Mr. Chris Sudbrink. Thank you, Carly and Chris, for doing this for us today. Carly and Chris are two of the remarkable members of Sunshine Project's broadcast TV program. Let's give them a brief round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alma, and welcome, everyone. I'm Carly Ruderman, political reporter for Sunshine Projects TV.
And I'm Christopher Sudbrink, also from Sunshine Projects TV. We will be your moderators for this afternoon's event.
Over the next hour, we have a chance to hear from Congressman Trone on some of the top issues in the upcoming election and why it is important for every one of us to vote.
Following Congressman Trone's remarks, we'll have a Q&A session with questions submitted by our own town hall participants. To avoid any Zoom problems, Carly and I will ask these questions on their behalf.
Then we'll welcome Ms. Tracy Wright from Disability Rights Maryland, who will talk briefly about voter rights and safe options for casting a vote that will count. She too has agreed to take questions if time permits.
Congressman Trone was elected in 2018 to serve Maryland's 6th Congressional District, which includes all or part of Montgomery, Frederick, Garrett, Allegheny, and Washington counties. He serves on the Education and Labor, Foreign Affairs, and Joint Economic Communities, where he is fighting to make progress on issues that matter to Marylanders, including the opioid epidemic, mental health, criminal justice reform, and funding for medical research.
And with that, please welcome Congressman Trone. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and insights.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to first of all mention Elma. Thank you for your friendship. Elma and I go back almost 20 years. So it's been a long run together. And we've done a lot of things with the Joy cheerleading squad, and also work with Special Olympics. So we've had a lot of great efforts together, and Elma's been a great champion of the disabilities community.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
Thank you, David.
Welcome.
Now, this is an incredible opportunity to discuss what I do in Congress and how important it is to vote. This couldn't be more critical as the election is almost 35 days away. I came to Congress in 2019 after running a business for over 30 years. I ran to make a difference in our community and make sure that every family in the 6th district was safe, healthy, and successful. I have the pleasure of representing, as mentioned, almost 5 counties. And every day we fight hard for Marylanders. In Congress, I work with lawmakers, Democrats and Republicans, to create legislation to better the lives of Marylanders and the American people. The 3 committees, Ed and Labor, one of my favorites, because we all know education is the key to everyone's success. And Foreign Affairs, we need to have our place in the world, and we have to step up and be part of all the challenges throughout the world. The issues I focus on: opioids, which claimed over 200,000 lives in the last 3 years. It's unbelievable. Mental health, challenges there that are increasing every day. COVID has led to much more anxiety and depression from people all over the country and all over the world. And of course, our unjust criminal justice system, where people of color are targeted, and 1 in 3 young African-American men end up in jail. That's wrong. I work closely with the Bipartisan Disabilities Caucus and my Republican colleague, Kathy McMorris Rogers. We just spent last Monday together. She's from Washington State, and I visited her district last year, and she was in my district all day Monday of last week. And I think it's really important to work Republicans and Democrats together as a team. And she and I are working to expand and protect opportunities for members of the disabilities community. It's important to create real change. As you know, we have an election coming up in November. And I couldn't agree more with the title of this event. Your voice is your vote. With your vote, you have the power to decide who will represent you at every level of government, local, state, and federal. It's a huge responsibility, and we all have to take it serious. This makes sure that our government is by the people and for the people. You get to decide what our country's future is. Looking down the road, how we address the biggest problems we have in America, from COVID-19 to climate change, all those big issues, you get to address with your vote. We're heading the most important election of our lifetime. There's a lot at stake. Many of these issues will affect the disabilities community, the future of our healthcare system, and the future of anti-discrimination policies. We've got to get this right. With COVID-19, this election will be different than any we've ever had in the past. Our top priority has to be keeping people safe. So no matter what, that's the key. In Maryland, you have an option to vote early, October 26th, the polls open, or in person, or by mail. It's critical to make a voting plan now so you know your vote will be counted. So today is going to be an excellent opportunity to learn more about the voting process, how to make a voting plan that works for you, whether it's now or November 3rd. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So it's good to be here, and it's great what Elma's put together with Sunshine to help drive the spotlight on the most important fundamental right as an American to vote. So thank you. Elma, moderators, what are the questions?
Thank you, David. Carly?
Chris. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Chris. Where's Chris? There you go, Chris. You can unmute.
Thank you, Congressman, for those thoughtful remarks. We shall now open the session for questions from our audience, which were submitted earlier today. I will start with a two-part question from Ms. Chloe Thomas. How did you become a congressman, and what are the skills needed to be a good congressman?
Well, the most important skill is really to like people and be able to talk very comfortably with people and be able to explain what your ideas are. Because at the end of the day, government is about a battle of ideas. And the ideas that I think are most important are helping those that don't have a voice, helping those in the addiction community, helping those making better mental health for all Americans, helping those with medical research. So all those are important things, but the key is be able to talk to a lot of folks and explain what you'd like to accomplish. If they understand that, they'll believe in you and they'll vote for you. So business, in my career for 30 years, I started a business when I was in graduate school, but this is the way we can really make a difference in tens or hundreds of millions of people's lives by getting Congress to focus on those folks that don't have a voice. That's what we need. Those that don't have a voice and those are vulnerable. And so working with members of the disabilities community, the criminal justice system, those are things I love to do. That's a great question.
Thank you, Congressman Trone. Our next question is from Gabby Fleming. I am worried about climate change. I recycle and do other things myself, but I want to know what the government is trying to do to help.
Well, that's probably one of the most important, if not the most important issue. I mean, if we let our climate continue to decline, we won't have anything for our children. So we need to get government to think long term. Think about our kids and their kids. So we've got to address climate change aggressively. The House of Representatives passed H.R. 9, which I voted for and co-sponsored, and that addresses climate change. Unfortunately, it's stuck in the Senate, and the Senate is unwilling to take that up. So after this election, if the Senate is different, we might have a chance to take that up. In the House, we had a special committee on climate change. Congresswoman Kathy Castor, she's the one that stood up the committee, and they have lots of good answers. But if we don't follow through, the climate will continually heat up, and that change leads to more things like hurricanes, wildfires, global warming, which melts the polar ice cap. So a lot of very bad things will happen if we don't step up and stop what's happening clearly throughout the entire world.
Thank you, Congressman Trump. Next, we have a question from Marty Clark. For many young people, particularly in the disability community, the COVID crisis has eliminated our jobs and work programs. What is Congress doing to help people who lost their jobs, particularly those who have intellectual differences?
Well, that's a really good one. COVID has really hurt certain groups more than other groups. And you're dead on. The groups that have really been hurt are folks in the disabilities community, folks with autism. Those folks have been twice as affected on the death rates as other folks by COVID, 2 times more affected. So we've really got to figure out how to protect everybody. So we've got to get more testing. We have to isolate them when someone has COVID and trace who they've been in touch with, who they've been in contact with. And we've got to wear our masks when we're near each other, and we got to keep distancing. That's the key. We have to respect each other. And if we do that, we'll all be better. The HEROES Act, which we're hopefully going to pass sometime, maybe this week even, the second time, then try and get the Senate to take it up, has a lot of funding, billions of dollars for the disability community. And that's what we need, is special funding that can help out those that are more impacted than other communities. That's a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Trone. This question is from Isabel Franklin. On October 10th, I will turn 18, and this will be my first time I can vote. Why is it important that young people like me vote?
Well, the voting is the most sacred right that George Washington and our founding fathers set up, because the vote is your voice. You want certain things for this country: equal opportunity for everybody, better jobs, better pay, better housing, better places to recreate. So all the things that you might want, and we all want, they can only happen if we have the right people in government, whether it's local government, state, or federal government. You know, we need to have the right people there, and you choose who they are. So we need you to help choose who they are, and we need you to stand up and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Trump. This question is from Sandhya Jain. The COVID crisis has changed everything, and a lot of people are getting sick. What can we do to protect our families, and what is Congress doing to end said COVID crisis?
Yeah. Congress has passed 4 bills so far to help with COVID, and we have another big bill we're going to pass, hopefully, maybe even this week. So it's being negotiated today. So COVID's success is testing, testing, testing. We've got to find out who has the disease, because roughly 40% of the people that have the disease have no symptoms. So they don't even know they have it, but they carry it. They transmit it to other people. So it's really important that we find out who has it so they can stop them from giving it to other people, because 200,000 people have died and 7 million people have had COVID now in America. Over 1 million people have died across the world. And it leaves long-term damages to people's heart and lungs that will have other consequences down the road. So we've got to get good testing, then we need to get good treatment, and we have to develop a vaccine. So hopefully we'll have a vaccine. It won't be, for my guess, next summer before we have enough vaccine for everybody. They may have a vaccine soon, but they need literally billions of vaccines. Until we have that, we're all not going to be safe. So wear your mask, keep your distance.
Thank you, Congressman Trone, for participating in our town hall, commenting on important issues, and reminding us why it is important that we all vote. We know your schedule is very hectic as we approach Election Day. So we appreciate you taking the time to hear from us. Would you like to offer any parting thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. Well, thanks to our moderators. They did a great job, and we had really good questions. It's really important that people have curiosity and questions so we can try and give you the answers the best we know. And I want to thank Elma again in Sunshine. And it's always a pleasure to work with the community and be there and try and be helpful. But this is a wonderful, wonderful thing you're working on. The more we have voting, the more voice we have from our community, the better laws we're going to have that affect your community, but also the greater community. So we've really, really got to get everybody out to vote, and you owe it to yourself to be informed about the candidates. So learn about who's running for president, so you understand both candidates. The same thing for Congress, the same thing for the state offices. There's state offices, but you've got to vote on a lot of offices, so you have to do some work. It involves some work. You know, being a voter is an obligation to learn about the candidates so you can see who's going to do the things that you believe in. You believe in. And that's what your vote does. It advances your beliefs. But you got to work to make the right choices. Thanks very much, everybody, and have a great day. And most importantly, you got to be safe. Be safe. Thank you. Thanks, Elma.
Thank you. Thank you again, Congressman. Please give a warm round of Zoom applause to the Congressman and his staff.
Now, we would like to move into our voter information session. Please welcome Ms. Tracy Wright from Disability Rights Maryland. She will talk about what we need to do to make sure our vote gets counted and what rights we have as voters.
Tracy. Where's Tracy?
Tracy Wright.
Okay, where's
Or
Tracy?
maybe go somewhere.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Tracy Wright, and I work for Disability Rights Maryland as their voter advocate. Today I've been asked to share some general information with you about voting that I think is really important, especially during the times of the pandemic and COVID. One thing I want you to be aware of is that November 3rd is quickly approaching, and the congressman was right, we have to make a plan, and you have to figure out what plan is best for you. There's a few different ways to vote. Of course, there is voting by mail, and if anyone voted in the primary election and was registered to vote, then your ballot automatically came to you in the mail. The difference is for the general election, if you choose to vote by mail, you have to request the ballot. You might say, well, how do I do that? A lot of people have heard that there is that the ballot form to request a ballot by mail is coming to you in the mail. But people have been a little bit confused. It is a ballot request form for mail-in ballot or an absentee ballot. But you do have to fill that out and send it back in, or you can go on the State Board of Election website and request the ballot electronically, which that helps out because if you fill out that ballot that comes to your home and request form and send it in, someone at the Board of Elections has to enter your information in. But if you have the capability to do it online and put your information in, then that takes out a step for the Board of Elections, and it's really helpful. And it's really quite easy to request your ballot to come to you by mail online. You just need a few pieces of information. You need to have all your information about your address, your name, and then you either need to have your last 4 digits of your social security number or your number off your state ID or driver's license. If you're not registered to vote, then you have to be able to request to register to vote online by October 13th, which is really close. But if you don't get a chance to do that, there are still some options then to register to vote. You can go to early voting, which is going to start on October 26th. And you can go to an early vote site and register to vote there. Then, just 1 second here, I'm sorry, my screen went dark with my notes. So I want to give you the early vote information. It starts on Monday, October 26th, and goes through Tuesday, through Monday, November 2nd. And it's open 7 days a week, so it's open even on Saturday and Sunday if you're going to elect to vote in person. I really recommend that people try to go to your early voting sites, and it has a lot of flexibility that way. And you can go there and register to vote if you didn't get a chance to register. And even if you requested an vote by mail or absentee ballot and you choose to, you can still go into the early vote site if you haven't filled out that mail-in ballot, and you can do what's called a provisional ballot. And they will give you one of those because they want to make sure that people don't vote twice, and they want to make sure that you haven't already sent in your ballot. So they'll give you a provisional ballot to vote in person if you requested a mail-in ballot, if you want to go in person. And then, of course, November 3rd is Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd, and the vote sites for Montgomery County are going to be the high schools, which are different than, you won't go to your normal voting location. And you can look them up on the Montgomery County Board of Elections website with putting in your address or zip code and getting your local site. And there are a couple more things I want to tell you if you choose to vote by mail and you're mailing that ballot in. I would fill that ballot out as quickly as you get it and get it back in the mail, because there's going to be a lot of mail, a lot of ballots going back. So the quicker we send them in, the quicker we have a chance, the more we ensure that we have a chance to make sure our votes are counted. And if you are waiting you're not able to get your ballot in early, you have to make sure that you get your ballot in the mail or to a ballot drop box, which is at all the voting location sites. So you can take them anywhere and drop them in. And those drop boxes, you may have heard on the news that there's some concern about whether they're going to be safe and keep our votes private. From what I understand, they'll be guarded, so they'll have somebody out there making sure that your ballot is safe and private. And if you do choose to go to the early vote site or go in person, you could use a ballot marking device if you need it. That will have accessibility to all the polling vote centers. So you can use that. And that has the capability to work with different devices if you need it. And that also has the capability to enlarge your ballot if you need it and read your ballot to you if you need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, for that very helpful information. We have time for a couple of questions. Let's start with a question from Sarah Doros, who asks whether people can get help when going to the polls to vote or when filling out their mail-in ballots.
That's a great question, and absolutely, you can have assistance when filling out your ballot, whether in person, when you go to the polls. Don't be surprised, though. You can either take someone in with you if you need that support. You can take someone in with you if you have someone you want to take in, or you can get help by the election poll workers there. And typically they'll have a representative, they'll have two people come over to assist you. And the reason they do that is typically there'll be one representative from each of the parties, because if you're having assistance with reading your ballot or marking your ballot, they want to make sure that it's done fairly and accurately, as that no one influences your vote and your votes are your choice. Now, another point I would like to add is the poll workers or the election judges can only read you what's on the ballots. So they can't explain anything to you or give you any more information about the different races. They can only read what's on the ballot.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. The next question is from Susanna Lovegrove. A lot of people want to vote by mail because they're afraid of getting sick from COVID, but some people have said that mail-in ballots are not good and may not be counted in the election. Is that true? And what can we do to make sure our mail-in votes count?
Great question. The mail-in ballots will be counted. Maryland is a state. Well, Montgomery County is the county that counts every single ballot. So as long as your ballot is postmarked by 8 p.m. on election day, November the 3rd, your ballot will be counted. So one of the things you can do is, like I said a little bit earlier, you can, as soon as you get your mail-in ballot, you can fill it out and send it in. You don't have to wait till early voting starts. I've already done mine, and you can mail it back. That's one thing you can do. And the other is to assure everyone that you know that the drop boxes are a safe place. So if you choose to vote by mail, but want to make sure your ballot does get in, and you have the ability to have someone drop it off for you that you trust to drop it off. Now, one thing, if I could just go back to, if someone does assist you with your mail-in ballot, there will be what's called an affidavit inside that the person will have to fill out, saying that they did assist you with voting.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Our last question was submitted anonymously. Some people are afraid that if they try to vote, a poll worker or a poll monitor may try to tell them they are not allowed to vote because of their disability. Is that true? And what rights do voters have when people try to stop them from voting?
No one, it's discrimination, first of all, for anyone to ask you about your disability or to say you cannot vote because of your disability. So that is, and you should ask to see the head election judge at the polling places if that happens, because no one should ever make you feel that you shouldn't be voting because of your disability.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy, for giving us the information we all need to make our votes count.
Elma, back to you for any final thoughts you may have.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in today to hear a lot of information about voting rights and being safe during voting. So my only good two things you need to think of before November 3rd, as Congressman said, you have to research amongst candidates who can best represent you and go out and vote and make sure you're safe. Wear your mask.
So thank you, Chris and Carly. Let's give a hand to our moderators this afternoon. Great job, guys.
Good job, everyone.
Oh, what? Goodness, where's my mask? Okay. All right. So stay tuned for the next series of town hall meetings. Afterwards, all the attendees will be getting a separate link. We've actually established, thanks to the help of Charles, Izzy's dad, and Marcy, a separate voter rights site that gives all the information that Tracy has shared with us, all the important dates to think about as well. And that'll be a separate link that you can hit on and get more information on the upcoming dates on the elections. So thank you everyone for your attendance today. We really thought this was a really important message, and we can't thank you enough for joining us. And we hope to see you at the next voter town hall.
Tracy, thank you. Chloe, thank you. Ayan, all of my Sunshine Project's friends, thank you so much. Tristan Guerin is here. If you guys can see him, thank you, Tristan, for signing in. David Ruderman, Ben Jackson, Emily, Cynthia, Carly, thank you for moderating. Chris, thank you for moderating. Bijan, thanks for coming. Christine Pulley and family. Delaney, Matthew, I love you. Sumi, Susanna, Isabel, Aiden, Ella, Yao, Nadia is here. Abby, Sam, Ruthie. Thank you, everyone. Let's get out and vote and let our voices be heard. Thank you, Paula and Claire. Thank you, Isabel Duran. Everyone who came today, Cynthia Wiener, Down syndrome of Montgomery County. Thank you so much. You are. Thank you.